Let's start off tonight with the Texas abortion ban. Effectively. Supreme Court allows extreme Texas abortion ban to go. And by the way, if you're listening to the podcast, I was reacting to a comment, not laughing about the abortion ban going into effect. That is not cool. I am not down with that. The Supreme Court allows extreme Texas abortion ban to go into effect. SB 8 offers private citizens a $10,000 bounty if they successfully sue anyone aiding or abetting abortion-seeking patients in Texas. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday allowed a restrictive Texas law to go into effect that criminalizes abortion at 6 weeks and deputizes citizens to enforce the ban. SB 8 effectively bans abortion at 6 weeks, a time at which many people don't yet realize they're pregnant. The bill is more extreme than laws in states such as Alabama and Ohio due to a clause that financially incentivizes private citizens to sue anyone aiding or abetting abortion-seeking patients in Texas. Because they went the civil route, that's how they have been able to evade the federal courts. The Supreme Court decided not to weigh in on it. Now, it would be a shame if everyone was to go to prolifewhistleblower.com or Google Texas Right to Life and go to this here little website, the Help Enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act, where you can totally send an anonymous tip. I wouldn't encourage you to do it from different browsers. I wouldn't encourage you to do it from different IP addresses if you have a VPN and you can bounce it off of different servers. I would never encourage anyone to do such a thing. But people with ill intent might get a hold of prolifewhistleblower.com, where they might Google Texas Right to Life and find this form, Help Enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act. One might send an anonymous tip. How do you think the law has been violated? I should start it off as if I'm serious, right? And then this is gonna take. I want to put some thought into this. I can't just do this. I know it's called the Troll Patrol. That's what this show is made for. But it sure would be a shame if people were to go to prolifewhistleblower.com to help enforce the Texas Heartbeat Act. SB 8 effectively bans abortion at 6 weeks, a time at which many people don't yet realize they're pregnant. Someone successfully sues a person aiding and abetting the medical procedure, they could receive a bounty of $10,000 and have all of their legal fees paid for by the opposing side. The anti-choice movement is determined to decimate reproductive freedom and intimidate providers, pregnant people, and those who love and care for them, said Adrian Kimmel, the acting president of the NARAL, Pro-Choice America. Make no mistake, they continue, this law paves the way for anti-choice extremists to turn their dystopian vision into a horrifying reality, not just in Texas, but around the country. President Joe Biden blasted the Texas state legislature for blatantly violating the constitutional right established under Roe v. Wade. Biden said the Texas law will significantly impair women's access to the health care they need, particularly for communities of color and individuals with low incomes. And outrageously, it deputizes private citizens to bring lawsuits against anyone who they believe has helped another person get an abortion, which might even include family members, healthcare workers, front desk staff at a healthcare clinic, or strangers with no connection to an individual. Exactly right. It makes it impossible for a poor person to get an abortion. Let's get a short history lesson here. This video didn't quite go into everything I wish it had went into, like the congressional hearings before. Like, it picks up with Roe v. Wade, and I found like okay, like I want to get into this, but like before Roe v. Wade, we had congressional hearings. There was this chemical that came over from the UK, because the UK just poisons everything all over the world. Sorry. Looking at you, warlord. There was this chemical that was causing birth defects, and there was these moms giving this heart-wrenching testimony about the birth defects that their kids were born with, and that it was completely preventable. Like, they could have had an abortion. Like, the kids were dying a couple of years afterwards anyway. Like, they were being born like really deformed and then passing away. It's a really sad thing. But this picks up with like Roe v. Wade.
Republican states are hostile to abortion, while
ain't that the truth?
are pro-choice. But
This is The Economist.
Polarization is a peculiarly American phenomenon. In the rest of the world, abortion is legal on request or under a broad range of circumstances in 80 countries. In most of these countries, legalization has settled the debate, not stoked it. Take Britain. Abortion was legalized here in 1967, around the same time as America.
Britain legalised abortion through a parliamentary act. So there was a long debate between MPs about
High enough for this shit.
details of this. And that has largely settled it as a political issue in the country.
Ireland, a religious country like America, only recently voted to legalise abortion. Here too, the debate has dropped off the political agenda.
There does seem to be a correlation between
Majority voting in favour.
religion and oppressive laws now, doesn't there?
2/3 of people supported it. That gave real legitimacy to the law that followed.
So why didn't that happen in America? The answer partly lies in the way abortion was legalised in the Supreme Court.
We'll hear arguments number 18, Roe against Wade.
In the 1973 court case, Roe v. Wade, commonly known as Roe, 9 judges ruled 7-2 that abortion is a constitutional right.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions.
The fact that it was a court decision rather than legislation means that you don't have democratic legitimacy. This wasn't a decision that people had sort of really come to.
It's not an angle I had thought about
You
before.
don't get the details that you would in legislation. And so it means that America's laws on abortion are actually some of the most permissive in the world. You can have abortions far later into pregnancy than you can in most other countries. That has really fueled the debate.
Since that landmark case, public opinion has remained remarkably constant, with the majority saying abortion should be legal in certain cases.
I don't know how it's been that
Yet
low
politically, it is
recently.
polarised, with both parties moving to the extremes. But it wasn't always this way.
In the 70s, you could find
Jimmy Carter with some fucking crazy look
people
there.
in both parties, and in fact, during the 1976 election, both presidential candidates tried very hard to distance themselves from any strong stand on abortion.
If anything, Republicans were more pro-choice than Democrats. The main opponents to abortion immediately after Roe were Catholics, who tended to be Democrat.
That's when the Republicans realized they could fucking pick up the evangelical vote. The fringe part of the Republican Party that had been in power during the Nixon administration, the fucking Buchanan, fucking racist ass motherfucker, white nationalist assholes, they came to prominence within the Republican Party during the 80s, and they decided to use abortion as a wedge issue. Now, Fox was roasting Dan Rather. Dan Rather had a tweet about the abortion law in Texas. comparing the Texas laws to the Taliban. Fox News ran a piece on it earlier today. Ex-CBS anchor Dan Rather crushed for tweet comparing pro-lifers to Taliban. Rather's tweet, which by the way has 113k loves to like 5k comments. He did not get ratioed on this. Not crushed at all, it looks like. And Rather says it's worth noting that many of the same people attacking the Biden administration for leaving women's rights behind in Afghanistan are eager to control women's bodies and choices in the United States. A very valid point, Dan Rather. Fox says critics took to social media because I guess this is just what news is now. The dude came to my fucking YouTube page, clearly spouting Fox News talking points, talking about propagandists. Critics took to social media to blast the That's what we do on Twitch. Talk about what fucking people responded on Twitter, goddammit. Critics took to social media to blast the liberal former anchor, and some focusing their criticism on the debate over abortion itself. One critic identified themselves as pro-choice, but said that Rather's tweet intentionally mischaracterized the pro-life argument. How? And I'm doubting it. Article 5 Convention of States, please, is pro-choice. I fucking doubt it. I'm pro-choice, but most pro-choice people intentionally mischaracterize the pro-life argument. Dan here is one of those people. How? Please tell me how. Please follow up. Please tell me there is an explanation of how. How is that a mischaracterization? There's only like 19 comments back to this dude. This dude is a nobody. It got 7 retweets. But apparently Dan Rather got crushed on Twitter.